In this video, I will talk all about Esk Range. How much is an adequate range? What affects your range? How to take care of your batteries? And tips on how to improve your overall range coming up right after this intro. Hey guys, Gabby here from Rage Studios, and on this video we're gonna dive deep into Esk Range. So what's Esk Range? It's simple, the amount of distance you can ride from a single charge. You can check the range on your electric skateboard by your remote control odometer if that feature is available, or by using one of the many apps in either Android or iPhone. I can recommend Ride and Strava for iPhone users, and if you have an exway board, simple use their proprietary app. It's awesome and give a lot of extra information. I came up with the idea for this video a couple of months ago when we were doing some range tests for the Exway Flex ER and onboard Bamboo 80 Pro. Cloudwheel have sent me the Cloudwheel Donuts 105mm for the Flex ER. Michael, where are the cloud wheels? We thought it might be a good idea to test that board with two different sets of wheels and completely different conditions. I'm a big fan of cloud wheels. These boards will go over bad roads like no other, but they're known to take a bit off your range. So we mounted these wheels and Michael, my assistant, went out for a test ride. We set the board on turbo and keep the pace up full throttle most of the way on the scorching hot summer weather. The results were not particularly great. He only managed to get 17.9 kilometers. I contacted the folks at Exway to see if there is anything wrong, since in their website they claim this board can do up to 38 kilometers. And they told me that those estimates are with 75 kilogram riders on second gear, flat roads with the stock 85mm wheels, and nice weather. So I changed the wheels back to the PU 85mm and I sent Michael out again for another range test, but this time at night, so it won't be so hot. This time he will ride only using third gear all the way, as second gear would be painfully boring for any experienced rider. Michael is 85 kilograms and I'm about 90 kilograms. The only way we can go down to 75 kilograms is by chopping off a leg. Hey Michael, can I see your leg real quick?
What's behind your back?
Nothing. This time around we got very different results. He managed to get 31 kilometers. That's a lot closer to Exway's estimates. I guess the point of this test is to show you some factors like weight, wheels, and riding style can heavily influence your range. We did a similar test with the onboard Bamboo 80 Pro. We tested three different wheels: the cloud wheels Discovery 120mm and 165mm rubbers, and also the stock 5 inches pneumatic tires. By the way, I'm working on a video all about the skate wheels. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss that one out. The results on this one came a bit close. 48 kilometers on 120mm wheels, 41 kilometers on 5-inch pneumatic tires, and 39 on cloud wheels rubbers. We ran the test with nice weather and mostly in third gear or turbo. To do this test we have to spend a few hours a day. The Bamboo 80 have very generous range, what begs the question: how much is enough range for any skate? I personally don't often ride over 20 kilometers a day. Also, the fact that I have too many e-skates, e-bikes, e-scooter, and even an electric car, it makes me less dependent on any particular board. So if I run out of battery on one board, I can always swap for another one. But I wonder what other users have to say about that.
What's going on YouTube? It's Marr here with Rage Studios, and today I'll be covering Eskate range. So how much range is enough for a full day of e-skating? Back when I first got my first electric skateboard, I used to rock the Meepo V3, and I actually used to change out the battery and bring an extra battery pack behind with me. and that would get me somewhere around 14 miles of range, 7 miles out and 7 miles back. But nowadays, there's a bunch of crazy all-terrain electric skateboards that can get you almost up to 20 miles of range. Now, 20 miles of range is somewhere around 2 hours to 2.5 hours of riding for me. And personally, by the end of that time, your feet are starting to get a little bit tired. Range is pretty interesting because the more time you have, the more time you do have to charge. So if you have an electric skateboard like the Meepo V4, you can actually fast charge that and get up to 100% battery, I think in like an hour and 30. So it really does depend. You can either get the super big bulky battery or you can get the super fast charging board. Either or, I approve.
Now, normally I don't need a lot of range, but there is once in a while that there would be group rides that there are these e-bikes and the unicycles. So if I'm going on a group ride and I need more than 20 miles range, I would probably go for the B1 Titan X. So the B1 Titan X is one of my favorite boards. It's definitely my top 5. So sometimes I'll utilize it with cloud wheels. Sometimes I'll do street wheels. And sometimes I'll do AT, but for the most part, when it comes to a longer range, I would choose either the B1 Titan X or I would go for the onboard Zeus Pro. And I only have the ATs on here because I was doing testing on versing a different board, but I normally actually use the onboard Zeus Pro with 97mm Evolve wheels, which are actually on the Evolve right now. But the white 97mm Evolve wheels on the onboard Zeus is just perfect.
For how much range I need on an electric skateboard, I personally don't need a lot. The majority of my trips are just me going from my home to my studio, and that's less than 5 kilometers. Sometimes I even just take my board to the metro, and then from the metro, I'd like get on the metro, get off the metro, and then from there ride to my studio, and it's like that's like, I don't know, 2 kilometers total. So I don't need a lot of range at all. That's why I prefer the Exway Wave with the travel battery, because with the travel battery, I think I can get only maybe about 10 kilometers of range, but that's enough for me. Like for me, portability is more important than range. I feel like for electric skateboards is not the ideal type of vehicle for long range rides. Like I understand that some people, or a lot of people, they like to go on group rides, and so there's that social aspect where, you know, it's fun riding a long distance together, everybody's suffering together, I guess. But yeah, like say if I have to travel, say 40 kilometers, my first choice of vehicle is not going to be an electric skateboard. It's probably going to be a car, to be honest. But let's say we don't want to use cars, or let's say you don't have a car, then I would choose a electric bike over an electric skateboard for that kind of distance. For electric skateboards, I really just prefer riding a short distance.
As you can imagine, battery is the main factor when it comes to range. The bigger the battery, the more range you get. But for that, I brought a German engineer who specializes in this field.
Hi, I'm Uwe. I'm a product designer from Germany. I worked in the sportswear industry. I work in innovation products now. And today I will talk about electric skateboard batteries. Electric skateboard batteries, what exactly are they? And what are they made of? We all know there's a battery inside these boards. But do you know what their size is, their power, their range? In today's video, we will go into details about e-skateboard batteries and give you an intro to the world of voltage, current and power. Or should I say voltage, ampere and watt? In e-skate batteries, you will find lithium-ion batteries, a term you probably heard of. Those are single cell connected to each other to create a whole battery pack. You are probably familiar with regular AA or AAA cells you use in remote controls for your TV. Lithium-ion cells are quite similar, even similar in shape and size. Here you see an AA, a AAA battery and a lithium-ion cell. The lithium cell is just slightly bigger, but it has a higher energy density than the regular AA batteries. And that's the reason they are used in e-skateboard battery packs. They have a voltage of 3.7 volt, which is called nominal voltage, and when fully charged 4.2 volt. One more thing you should know is their name, which is based on their measurement. These cells are called 18650, 18mm wide and 65mm long. Very simple and very easy to understand. Also very easy to distinguish different cells from each other. A bigger cell would be 20700 or 21700, depending on the brand. You probably know these button-shaped lithium cells, CR2032. Same here, the name is based on their size, 20mm wide and 3.2mm thick. The bigger the cell, the more energy they can store, or the more capacity they have. To understand a battery pack, we need to see how multiple cells are connected. Basically, you can connect batteries in two different ways, S or P, which you will see written on your battery pack or in the specs of your skateboard. So here we will go a bit more into detail, but don't worry, we will keep it simple. As you can't run these powerful motors on a single cell, you need to add multiple cells to a pack. So what you do is to add one cell to the other, similar to a flashlight, where you add multiple cells. And the same is done here, where you end up with a series of cells, and every time you add a cell, the voltage will increase. One cell is 3.7 volt, two cells 7.4, three cells 11.1, and so on. This can go up to 10 or 12 cells in a battery pack. So how much voltage do we need? Well, that is determined by the motor. If a motor runs on 37 volts, you need to add batteries until you reach that exact voltage. So 10 cells in series would be a 10S battery with 37 volt. The most simple pack would be 10S, which can be seen as one battery. And this gives you a certain range. If you want to increase the range, you would need multiple of these 10S batteries. And this is where we have the second way of adding batteries, but this time without increasing the voltage. And that's called parallel or P. One row is 10S 1P, two rows are 10S 2P, three rows 10S 3P, and so on. By adding rows, the voltage stays the same, but the capacity increases. It's like having 2, 3, 4 batteries all with the same voltage. So you would have packs that are 10S4P or 10S2P, and that is how you know the voltage, and also how many cells in total in your battery pack. Now we do the final step, which is the capacity. Same as a container of liquids, a battery also has a capacity. It's the same word and the same meaning. Liquids are measured in ounce, liters or gallons, and batteries in milliamp hours. A cell will have a capacity which is between 2000 to 5000 milliamp hours. This is an easy one. It just looks complicated when you see this for the first time. One cell has 3.7 volt and 2000 milliamp hours. 10S will have 37 volt and 2000 milliamp hours. In series, the voltage goes up, but the capacity stays the same. If we add cells in parallel, the voltage stays the same, but the capacity doubles, triples or quadruples. So 10S2P would be 37 volt with 4000 milliamp hours. 10S3P 6000 milliamp hours. 10S4P 8000 milliamp hours. It's simple math, you just need to add the capacity. I hope this all made sense to you, and I pass back to Gabi.
Now that you clearly understand how range works, let's talk on how we can improve it. As we already talked, the smaller and harder the wheels, the more range you will get. If you are rocking pneumatic tires, make sure they're properly inflated. If your board is belt system, make sure they're not too tight, as that can also affect your range. Riding in lower gears and taking breaks can also increase your range. Well, that's it for this episode of How to Eskate new series of videos. If you like it or find it somehow informational, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Alright, that's it. See you in the next one.